Welcome to this month's Envirotube. This month I'm standing next to a fish tub here, and we're going to be taking fish from here to a swimming pool that's just been converted into a pond. Ku-ring-gai Council has done over 50 swimming pools, converting them into ponds. That's really like 50 rainwater tanks, massive rainwater tanks without a lid. The biodiversity, the sustainability benefits are immense. How we help the residents of Ku-ring-gai is we give them plants and fish and give them technical advice. In this tub, I've got some firetail gudgeon. These are a really nice little native fish, about that long. They're at the bottom of the food chain, so you can actually put in bigger fish like bass or perch and they'll eat them. But the firetail gudgeon will predate a lot of mosquito wrigglers and all of that sort of thing. Of course, mosquito wrigglers aren't a really big problem because the mosquitoes that bite you, out of the 60 species that live in Sydney, the mosquitoes that bite you don't like deep water. So swimming pools converted into ponds are never a problem with mosquitoes. I've just caught about 10 to 15 firetail gudgeon. That's enough to have a genetically secure population. If you get too few, they can inbreed and you can have genetic problems. 10 to 15 is fine. They'll breed up very, very quickly in this new pond, and probably within 6 months or a year, there'll be literally thousands. Envirotube is about urban wildlife. Specifically, plants a little bit. We're not really here to sell anything, but we are going to mention some of the prices because we're at the community nursery and because we're talking to the person who runs the community nursery. Standing next to me is Sophia, who runs the community nursery. Sophia, this is a really interesting place, and just to your left, we've got all these aquatic plants.
Yes, we've been developing them for over a year because many people want to convert their swimming pools or even just build from scratch a frog pond, in which case we need vegetation to protect the frogs and if the pool is big enough, even the fish.
Most of the stock you have here are native plants. Where do you get the seed and the cuttings from?
We collect them in the local parks of the council and from the wildflower garden.
So your speciality is plants of the Ku-ring-gai area?
That's right.
You mainly sell tube stock. What would I expect to pay for tube stock here?
Most plants you will pay $3.50 for a tube stock. If they're very hard to develop, you'll pay $7.50.
It's a bit of a secret, guys, but this nursery is probably the only nursery that sells a whole range of petunias. Is that true?
Yes.
How much are you charging for these unobtainable plants except for at this nursery?
If you buy them in a stock tube, it's $7.50. If you buy them in a larger container, the 140ml pot, you only pay $15.
$15 for a plant you cannot get anywhere else in Australia? That has to be the bargain of the decade, maybe the bargain of the century. What we're going to do today is we're actually going to a brand new pond, a brand new conversion. First time it's going to get fish, first time it's going to get plants. And you're going to come along with us and check it out. What we have here is an example of a water plant, Eleocharis in this case, that's taken over the whole pond. What we're going to do is harvest some of it. The idea being that this pool has a lot more than it could ever need, and we're going to be able to then pass it on to other people. Because of the plants, the water quality is brilliant. There is one thing I should make a note of though. The plants are looking at their absolute worst because it's the end of winter. By the middle of summer, it's going to be a sea of verdant green, upright stems. It's going to be something spectacular. Okay, that'll be enough. And we've got a beehive here. Fancy that. Okay. Okay, Bruce, well look, we're standing here next to your pool and you're turning it into a pond. What advantages do you possibly see from doing this?
Oh, saving in electricity, saving in pool chemicals, therefore a fair bit of money, about $2,000 a year, I reckon.
Wow. Do you care about the environmental benefits in terms of biodiversity? Well,
that's a secondary byproduct to some extent because you know, when you have a pool, you don't really go to that extent. You're starting to think about kids not using it, cost.
Yes.
And then you start to think, well, you can turn it into a pond and it can be something different.
Well, we're going to give you 5 plants and 10 to 15 firetail gudgeon. Those fire-tailed gudgeon will breed. You'll end up with hundreds of them, if not thousands.
Well, there's lots of mosquitoes in there.
Oh, good. Although, as you know, the ones that bite you
Yeah.
won't be living in your pond. I just have to keep saying that because it's so ingrained in people when they see mosquito larvae that they're the ones that bite you.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, let's go and put some plants in.
Okie doke.